Hi, everyone, and welcome back to This Week in Biotech by Biotech Blueprint. I'm glad to have you back. Today, I'm covering biotech and pharma news from November 21st to December 4th, 2025, and it is edition number 80 on Substack. So, a lot happened in the last 2 weeks despite the holidays in the United States. We have seen leadership changes at the FDA again, the most aggressive federal drug policy cuts we've seen so far, two genuinely important clinical results in Duchenne muscular dystrophy and glioblastoma. So let's get into it. As I said, the FDA is continuing its reorganization under Commissioner Martin Makary. The biggest move was that Tracy Beth Haig has been appointed acting director of the Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, or CDER. Haig is a sports medicine physician and epidemiologist who became widely known for her criticism of COVID-era vaccine mandates. Whether people agree with her or not, her appointment signals that the new FDA wants a very different approach to evidence. Slower, more skeptical, and more adversarial toward industry than we've seen in years. At the same time, at the Biologics Division, which oversees vaccines and cell and gene therapies, the director, Vinay Prasad, circulated internal guidance, pushing for randomized clinical trials even for routine vaccines like the seasonal flu shot. The agency has never required this before, and 12 former FDA commissioners responded publicly earlier this week, calling the approach unworkable and warning that it could shut out smaller companies entirely. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services released the first negotiated drug prices that will take effect in 2027. And for the first time, the federal government directly reset prices for household name medicines. The biggest headline were semaglutides, which is the ingredient in Ozempic and Wegovy. And that drug will get 71% price cut from $960 to $274 per month. So a substantial cut. Other drugs saw even steeper reductions. This matters because it's multi-billion-dollar shifts that change how companies model revenue, R&D, and future pricing power. And it's definitely beneficial to the patient. And since it's now confirmed for 2027, it's definitely structural, not temporary change. Capricor Therapeutics reported pivotal phase 3 results for deramiocel, and they were strong. They showed 54% slowing in upper limb decline in Duchenne muscular dystrophy patients, also 91% slowing in heart function decline, and clean safety profile. So this is the first successful phase 3 trial in largely non-ambulatory Duchenne population, which is a field that is kind of tricky and therapies routinely fail there. Capricorn now plans to resubmit its application to the FDA, and these data dramatically improve the odds of approval. IMVAX reported a 6.3-month improvement in median overall survival in newly diagnosed glioblastoma, which is a 45% increase over standard therapy. Glioblastoma hasn't seen meaningful survival improvement in nearly 20 years, so any positive movement really draws attention. This study missed its progression-free survival endpoint, but the survival benefit is notable and will drive a serious regulatory discussion. And then I returned the Public Health Corner this time to the newsletter. And so I have two important public health signals. The National Vaccine Advisory Committee delayed its vote on whether to soften the hepatitis B birth dose recommendation after confusion over the wording of the decision itself. Some people said they're confused about what they're actually voting on. And so this kind of is a sign of how unsettled vaccine policy has become. So they postponed it from Thursday, so yesterday, and they're going to be voting today on December 5th at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So shortly after this newsletter drops, and I'll be following definitely the updates there. And Washington State confirmed the first human H5N5 avian flu infection and death in an elderly patient. So that's it for this week, or for the last 2 weeks. There's a lot more that happened. You can read about that in the full edition of This Week in Biotech on Substack. If you find this helpful, please share with your friends or colleagues, or send me questions that you like covered next week or in one of our deep dives. and I'll see you next week in edition number 81.